2025 was the most erratic, unusual year, certainly in my life, and maybe in yours. What I hadn't considered then, because I wasn't quite yet the Trump whisperer that I am today, was that one of the things that drives Donald Trump and his administration was to eviscerate his enemies. For the counties who voted for Donald Trump in 2024, they only represented 38% of the GDP of the country. And for the counties who voted for Kamala Harris, they represented 62%. The American middle class and American working class has been betrayed by globalization. Donald Trump's customer, in terms of how he got reelected, is the American working class, the American middle class. And he takes his customer seriously in that regard. And that's his history. He'll screw a lot of other people, but his customer, he takes care. I'm sorry. If the people you're supposed to be serving are worse off and have been for decades, you need to lose your damn job. What Trump has actually done is he has taken a sledgehammer to the government. The average middle class household can no longer afford to buy a house in the average American city for the first time in U.S. history. And what that translates to across our country is that now we're in the double digits, and we're in beyond 10% of American households who have food insecurity. Why? Because people would rather have shelter than eat as much as they normally would eat. So where it went was to create the greatest billionaire class in history, the wealthiest billionaire class ever. And this is how we will bring climate risk management, climate risk mitigation, reducing greenhouse gas emissions to where Americans are. Because if we could solve the housing affordability crisis and relieve the pressure on the working class so that we can relieve this food insecurity of the working class, everyone will be on board to climate at that point. What it feels like is that everything is going sideways all at once. And that's when it dawned to me. This thing ain't working. We're at the point where it's just not working. I'm trying to solve the housing affordability crisis because the problem when things are not working is that people get desperate. And we really could, in America, we really could lose social order in this country. You'd be shocked to know that a person can have a thoughtful reason for why they would vote for Donald J. Trump. I'm not sitting in some ivory tower somewhere theorizing about the working class of this country or the middle class of this country. I'm living it, just like you. I talked about the war in Ukraine and the ridiculousness of it. I talked about the genocide in Gaza because that's why Kamala lost the election, by the way. You know, the deep analysis on what was the final differentiation was she lost too many Democrats on the issue of the genocide in Gaza. Desperate. 1.5 nostrils underneath the waterline. How can you hold power to account where you're just trying to keep your lights on? And the word was betrayal. I cannot express this more clearly. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden absolutely betrayed the people who voted for him in the worst way. And most of the people who voted for him know it. A Trump whisperer is someone who can see what Trump is actually doing. And the only way to see what he's actually doing is to ignore what he's actually saying. That's the secret sauce, right? It wasn't that I didn't appreciate having the stuff. It was that, is this all life is? Accumulating this stuff, making money. I guess who dies with the most wins meant nothing to me. And yet those things were not my most important values. I built my entire life based on them, and it proved to be empty. 2025 was the year we did realize it's not working.